Tom lived in a small, quiet town where everyone knew each other. He was a simple young man who enjoyed his life in a peaceful routine. Most days, he worked at the town's small hardware store, helping people with tools, nails, and paint. He didn't have many friends, but he liked it that way. The world felt too loud sometimes, and Tom liked the calm of his small town and the quiet beauty of the woods just outside it. Every evening, after his work was done, Tom would walk into the woods. He loved the smell of fresh soil and the sound of leaves rustling in the wind. The forest felt like a different world, one where he could think clearly, away from the busyness of life. Some people in town said the woods were boring, but Tom knew every path, every tree, every tiny creek. One late afternoon, when the sun was starting to dip behind the tall trees, Tom decided to walk a little deeper than usual. He wanted to see the old bridge near the river, a place he had not visited in months. As he walked, he listened to the birds singing and the soft crunch of leaves under his shoes. Suddenly, he heard something unusual, a soft cry, almost like a whisper carried by the wind. At first, he thought it was an animal. But then the sound came again, louder this time. It was definitely a human voice. Tom's heart beat faster. He had never found anyone lost in the woods before, and he felt a mix of curiosity and concern. He followed the sound carefully, stepping over roots and ducking under branches. After a few minutes, he saw her. She was sitting on the ground, her clothes dirty and torn in some places. Her hair was messy, and her face looked tired and frightened. She looked small and fragile in the shadow of the tall trees. When she saw Tom, her eyes widened, and she tried to stand, but her legs shook. "Are you okay?" Tom asked gently, keeping his voice calm so he wouldn't scare her. The woman shook her head, her lips trembling. I don't know where I am," she whispered. Tom stepped closer and held out his hand. "Don't worry. I'll help you. My name is Tom." She hesitated for a moment but finally took his hand. Her grip was weak, but she managed to stand. Tom noticed she was shivering. The evening air was getting cold, and he could see her teeth chattering. "Let's get you somewhere warm," he said. He looked around and realized that the sun was almost gone, and the woods would soon be dark. "I live nearby. You can rest there for a while." The woman nodded silently, not trusting her voice yet. Tom led her carefully through the forest, guiding her along the paths he knew so well. They walked slowly because she was unsteady. Tom talked softly the whole time, pointing out familiar trees and small animals to help her relax. After what felt like a long walk, they reached a small, wooden cabin at the edge of town. Tom opened the door and gestured for her to come inside. "You're safe now," he said. The cabin was simple but warm. A fire burned gently in the small fireplace, casting a soft glow across the room. Tom took a blanket and wrapped it around her shoulders. "Here, this will help you warm up," he said. She finally spoke, her voice still shaking. "Thank you. I'm Anna." "Nice to meet you, Anna." "You must be hungry too," Tom said. He went to the small kitchen and prepared some bread, cheese, and tea. When he returned, Anna was sitting on a chair by the fire, staring at the flames. You didn't have to help me," she said quietly, almost to herself. "I did," Tom replied simply. "No one should be lost and alone in the woods." Anna looked at him and felt a strange sense of calm she hadn't felt in a long time. There was something honest and gentle about Tom, something that made her feel safe, even though she had no idea who he really was. She sipped the tea he gave her, letting the warmth fill her hands and her heart. They didn't talk much after that, but the silence was comfortable. Tom kept a quiet watch, making sure she was okay. Anna finally closed her eyes and let herself rest. For the first time in hours or maybe days she felt like she could breathe without fear. Outside, the wind moved through the trees, rustling the leaves softly. Inside the small cabin, a lost woman and a small town man had found each other in the middle of the forest. Neither of them knew what would happen next, but at that moment, they both felt a small spark of hope. And for Tom, it was the start of something unexpected, an adventure he could never have imagined, beginning with a simple walk in the woods. The next morning, the sun peeked through the thin curtains of Tom's small cabin. Birds chirped outside, and the soft smell of wood smoke from the fireplace filled the room. Anna was awake, sitting quietly in a chair by the window, watching the sunlight dance on the trees. She seemed smaller somehow, lost in thought, as if the world outside her thoughts was a distant place. Tom entered the room with a tray of breakfast, fresh bread, butter, and a small bowl of fruit he had bought from the market the day before. "Morning," he said with a gentle smile. "I thought you might be hungry." Anna looked at the food, then back at him, unsure if she should take it. I haven't eaten much in the past day," she admitted softly. Tom placed the tray on the small table in front of her. "Eat slowly. There's no rush," he said, stepping back to give her space. She picked up a piece of bread and nibbled it carefully. Each bite seemed to give her a little more strength, a little more courage. Tom watched her quietly, not wanting to pressure her with questions, but feeling a strong curiosity about who she really was. After a few minutes, Anna finally spoke. I didn't mean to trouble you," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "You're not a trouble," Tom replied. "You were lost. Anyone would have helped you." Anna nodded, her fingers tracing the edge of the cup in front of her. I don't usually go out like this," she said slowly. "I'm not used to being alone." Tom sat down across from her, careful not to look too serious or pushy. "It's okay. You can stay as long as you need," he said simply. Anna hesitated, then let out a quiet sigh. "I don't want to lie, but I can't tell everything," she admitted. "Some things, people wouldn't understand." "I don't have many questions," Tom said gently. "I just want to help you feel safe. You don't have to explain everything." For a moment, silence filled the room. Anna stared at the floor, lost in thought. Finally, she looked up, her eyes reflecting a mixture of fear and relief. I just wanted to run away," she said. "From everything. From people who expect things from me, from rules I never agreed to. I just wanted to be somewhere I could breathe." Tom nodded slowly, understanding more than she might have expected. "The woods are quiet. No one is telling you what to do here. You can just be," he said. Anna smiled faintly, a smile that didn't reach her eyes at first, but slowly began to soften her face. "I like that," she said. "I haven't felt that in a long time." Tom decided to take her outside for a short walk. The morning air was fresh and cool, and the sunlight created patterns on the ground as it filtered through the trees. Anna moved slowly, still unsure of her strength, but she walked with Tom guiding her along the familiar paths. "Do you come here often?" Anna asked quietly, glancing at the trees and the small creek that ran nearby. "Almost every day," Tom replied. "It's peaceful. Helps me think." Anna nodded, watching the sunlight glint off the water. She had never felt this kind of peace before. The city she had left behind was always loud, always demanding, always full of expectations. Here, she could just exist. As they walked, Anna began to tell small pieces of her story. She spoke of her childhood, of a life filled with luxuries she never truly wanted, of lessons in manners and wealth that felt like cages rather than guidance. She spoke quietly, carefully, as if saying too much might break some fragile part of herself. Tom listened without interrupting, only offering small words of encouragement when she paused. He didn't judge her, didn't ask for details she wasn't ready to share. For the first time, Anna realized someone could care without expecting anything in return. When they returned to the cabin, Anna felt tired but lighter, as if a small weight had been lifted from her shoulders. She sat by the fire, watching the flames, and Tom prepared some tea for both of them. "You don't have to stay here forever," Tom said, placing a cup in front of her. "But you can stay for now. Just rest and recover." Anna took a sip, letting the warmth fill her hands. "Thank you," she said softly. "I don't know how I ended up here, but I feel safe. I don't feel that way anywhere else." Tom smiled, feeling a quiet warmth in his chest. "Sometimes, people find safety in the strangest places," he said. For the rest of the day, Anna stayed quietly in the cabin, letting herself relax in a way she hadn't in years. Tom went about small tasks, fetching firewood, cleaning the kitchen, but always kept an eye on her, ready to help if she needed anything. That night, as Anna drifted off to sleep, she realized something she hadn't felt in a very long time: hope. Hope that maybe, for the first time, she could be free from expectations. Hope that maybe she could start over. And for Tom, it was the beginning of something unexpected: meeting someone from a world so different from his own and discovering that even the simplest acts of kindness could change a life forever. Outside, the woods were calm, holding secrets and possibilities between the shadows and sunlight. Inside the small cabin, a lost woman and a kind man had found a small piece of peace together. The morning sunlight fell softly through the cabin window, casting a warm glow on the wooden floor. Anna woke slowly, feeling a strange sense of calm she had not felt in years. The quiet of the woods outside, the gentle creak of the cabin, and the smell of burning wood made her feel safe. For the first time in a long while, she didn't feel the weight of expectations pressing on her. Tom was already up, preparing breakfast. He moved quietly around the small kitchen, humming a soft tune. When he noticed Anna awake, he smiled. "Morning," he said gently. "I made some oatmeal and toast. I hope you like it." Anna nodded and smiled faintly. "Thank you, Tom," she said softly. She noticed how simple and caring he was, always ready to help without asking anything in return. As they ate, the cabin remained quiet except for the occasional crackle of the fire and the soft clink of spoons against bowls. Neither of them said much, but it was a comfortable silence. Tom understood that Anna needed space. She had already shared a little of her story, enough for him to know that she was running from more than just being lost in the woods. After breakfast, Tom suggested a walk. Anna hesitated for a moment but then nodded. The air outside was crisp, filled with the scent of pine and wet earth. The sunlight danced through the trees, creating moving patterns on the ground. Anna felt a strange joy in just walking, in taking slow, careful steps along the forest path. "You know," Tom said, breaking the silence, "I've walked these woods for years, but it never gets boring." There's always something new, a bird, a flower, or even a small animal hiding somewhere. Anna smiled softly. It feels different from the city. In the city, everything moves too fast. People are always looking, always judging. Here, I feel invisible, in a good way. Tom nodded. Sometimes, it's nice to disappear for a while. To just be yourself without worrying about what others think. As they walked, Anna began to open up a little more. She told him small things about her life, her love for books, the few hobbies she had that no one in her family appreciated, and the quiet dream of living simply. Tom listened without interrupting, encouraging her with gentle nods and soft smiles. They reached a small clearing near a creek. The water sparkled in the sunlight, and the sound of it flowing over stones was peaceful. Anna sat on a large rock near the edge, dipping her fingers in the cold water. Tom sat beside her, careful not to crowd her space. "Do you come here often alone?" Anna asked, her voice almost a whisper. "Sometimes," Tom replied. "But it's nicer with company. You notice things differently when someone else is with you." Anna looked at him, feeling a warmth she had not expected. It wasn't just the sunlight or the quiet, it was Tom's kindness, his patience, and the way he listened without judgment. She realized she could trust him, something she rarely allowed herself to do. For the next hour, they explored the clearing, watched birds flutter from tree to tree, and even spotted a small family of deer grazing quietly nearby. Anna laughed softly when one of the deer startled and ran away, and Tom felt a lightness in his chest. He had not realized how much he enjoyed seeing someone else find joy in the simple things he had always loved. As the sun started to lower in the sky, they walked back toward the cabin. Anna felt a mixture of relief and sadness, relief that she had found someone she could trust, and sadness that soon she would have to face the unknown again. That evening, after dinner, they sat together by the fire. The warmth of the flames made the cabin cozy, and the quiet outside felt protective. Anna rested her head against the back of the chair, thinking about how different life could be from what she had known. "I never thought I'd meet someone like you," she said softly. "Someone who doesn't care about who I am or where I come from. You just care." Tom smiled, a little shyly. "I guess I've always believed that everyone deserves kindness, especially when they need it most." Anna felt tears prick her eyes. She had always been surrounded by people who expected something from her: money, manners, appearances. But here, in this simple cabin, in the quiet woods, she could just be Anna. She didn't have to hide, she didn't have to perform. She could breathe. Tom noticed her pause and asked gently, "Are you okay?" Anna nodded, a small smile forming. "I've never felt this peaceful. I don't know why, but I feel like I can trust you." Tom's heart warmed. "You can," he said simply. "I promise." For the first time in years, Anna felt a connection, one that had nothing to do with wealth, power, or expectation. It was real, quiet, and comforting. And for Tom, it was a new experience too. He had never known someone who carried so much worry and fear, yet still had the courage to run toward freedom, even if it was just for a little while. As the fire crackled and the night settled around the cabin, they both felt a subtle change. The world outside the woods was still loud and demanding, but inside this small cabin, a friendship, and perhaps something more, was quietly beginning to grow. Outside, the stars shone brightly over the quiet town. Inside, two souls from very different worlds had found a small moment of peace and understanding, a moment that neither of them would forget. The next morning, the sunlight streamed through the cabin window, making the wooden floor warm and golden. Anna sat quietly at the small table, sipping her tea. The quiet comfort of the cabin had begun to feel like a shelter she had longed for, a place where she could breathe without fear. Tom entered the room, carrying a small basket of bread and fruit. "Good morning," he said with a gentle smile. "I thought we could have breakfast together before we go for a walk." Anna smiled faintly. "Good morning," she replied softly. She felt safe with him, yet a quiet worry lingered in the back of her mind. How long could she stay here without someone coming to look for her? As they ate, Tom noticed her quiet mood. "You've been thinking a lot lately," he said carefully. "Do you want to talk about it?" Anna hesitated, stirring her tea. For a long moment, she didn't answer. Then, in a soft voice, she began. I didn't tell you everything yesterday. There's something you should know about me." Tom leaned forward slightly, listening. "You don't have to tell me if you're not ready," he said. "I think I have to," Anna said. "I can't stay here without being honest. My name, it's not just Anna. My full name is Anna Whitman. I come from a very wealthy family. My life has always been about money, appearances, and rules I never agreed to. I wasn't happy there, so I ran away. I just needed to escape for a while." Tom's eyes widened slightly, but he didn't look shocked or judgmental. Instead, he nodded slowly. "That's a lot to carry alone," he said gently. "It makes sense you needed some time away." Anna's eyes filled with tears. She had expected him to look at her differently, to treat her as someone from a different world, someone who didn't belong in this small town. But Tom's calm and understanding presence surprised her. I thought people would think I'm foolish or spoiled," she whispered. "You're not foolish," Tom said firmly. "You're brave. It takes courage to leave behind everything you've known, even if it wasn't making you happy." Anna took a deep breath, feeling a mix of relief and nervousness. "I don't want to go back," she admitted. "I don't want to return to that life, but I don't know how to stay here without being found. I'm scared someone will come looking for me." Tom thought for a moment. "Then we'll take it one day at a time," he said. "You don't have to decide anything right now. You can stay here, safe, until you figure out what you want. And I'll help however I can." Anna felt a warmth spread through her chest. No one had ever offered her understanding like this before. It wasn't about money or status, it was about kindness, trust, and respect. She realized that, for the first time, someone saw her as just Anna, not Anna Whitman, the heiress. They decided to spend the morning walking through the woods. The air was crisp, filled with the smell of pine and wet leaves. Birds chirped in the distance, and the sunlight filtered through the branches, creating a peaceful, almost magical atmosphere. As they walked, Anna began to open up more. She spoke about her childhood, about the pressure to be perfect, to behave in a way that her family expected, and how lonely it had made her feel. She admitted that she had few friends who truly understood her, and that most people only cared about her wealth and family name. Tom listened patiently, nodding occasionally, never interrupting. "It sounds like you needed to find yourself," he said softly. "I did," Anna replied. "And I think I'm starting to. Being here, in these woods, with no expectations, it feels like a fresh start. I can breathe." They reached a small clearing near the creek, where sunlight reflected off the water in sparkling patterns. Anna sat on a large rock, letting her feet dangle above the flowing stream. "I don't know if I'll ever return to my old life," she said quietly. "But I want to try living differently. Simple, peaceful, free." Tom smiled, sitting beside her. "Then we'll figure it out together. You don't have to be afraid." Anna looked at him, feeling gratitude and trust she hadn't felt for years. The fear of being found was still there, but it was smaller now. She realized she didn't have to face it alone. Someone had offered her safety, understanding, and a chance to choose a new life. As the sun began to set, they walked back to the cabin in silence, the soft sound of the creek accompanying them. That night, Anna lay in bed thinking about the future. She didn't know what it held, but for the first time, she felt hopeful. She could take small steps toward a new life, one day at a time. Tom checked on her before leaving the room. "Get some rest," he said. "Tomorrow is a new day." Anna smiled faintly. "Thank you, Tom," she whispered. "For everything." Tom nodded. "You're welcome," he said simply. And as the cabin grew quiet, the woods outside glowed under the moonlight. Anna realized that sometimes, the hardest truths could bring the most freedom. She had shared her secret, and in return, she had received kindness, understanding, and a chance at something new, something she had never imagined possible. It was the beginning of a new chapter, one that neither wealth nor status could define. And for the first time, Anna felt ready to face it, with Tom quietly walking beside her. The next morning, the sun rose gently over the small town, casting golden light across the fields and streets. Inside the cabin, Anna was already awake, staring out the window at the trees swaying in the breeze. For the past few days, she had begun to feel safe and free, but there was still a quiet tension in her heart. She knew that eventually, someone from her old life might come looking for her. Tom entered the room with a basket of fresh fruit and bread. "Good morning," he said, smiling softly. "I thought we could have breakfast before heading out for a walk." Anna smiled faintly. "Morning," she replied. She appreciated how simple and caring Tom was. Every small gesture made her feel more comfortable and more connected to this quiet life. As they ate, Anna tried to keep her mind on the present, but she couldn't ignore the fear that lingered at the edges of her thoughts. "Tom," she said quietly, "do you think people will come looking for me?" Tom paused, considering his words carefully. "Maybe," he said honestly. "But we'll face it if it happens. Right now, you're safe, and that's what matters." Anna nodded, feeling a small sense of relief. Tom's calmness was comforting. She realized that no one had ever made her feel this way before, safe, understood, and accepted for who she was, not for what she had or what she represented. After breakfast, they decided to take a walk deeper into the woods. The air was crisp and clean, filled with the scent of pine and wet earth. Birds chirped in the distance, and sunlight filtered through the leaves, creating moving patterns on the forest floor. As they walked, Anna began to relax. She told Tom small stories from her childhood, how she had loved reading in secret, the few hobbies she had that no one in her family approved of, and the small joys that had always been hidden from the public eye. Tom listened quietly, nodding and smiling, offering gentle encouragement without interrupting. "You've been through a lot," Tom said softly. "It takes courage to leave everything behind and start over." Anna looked at him, her eyes reflecting both gratitude and fear. "I want to be brave," she said quietly. "But sometimes, I feel like I'm always running, even when I'm safe." Tom stopped walking and turned to face her. "You're not running anymore," he said firmly. You're choosing. That's different. You're choosing freedom, and that's brave. Anna smiled faintly, feeling a small weight lift from her shoulders. Tom's words were simple, but they carried truth. For the first time, she realized that she didn't have to live in fear, and that she could make her own choices slowly, carefully, but freely. They continued walking until they reached a small clearing with a stream running through it. Anna sat on a large rock, letting her fingers brush the cold water. Tom sat beside her, leaving space between them, respecting her need for distance while still offering companionship. I've never felt this way before, Anna admitted softly. Like I can just be. Without expectations. Without fear. Tom nodded. That's how life should feel sometimes, he said. It's okay to enjoy these moments. You don't have to think about the past or the future right now. Anna took a deep breath, letting the cool forest air fill her lungs. She felt a mixture of peace and anxiety, peace in the calm of the woods, anxiety because she knew the world outside could still catch up to her. But for now, she was grateful for this moment, for Tom, and for the safety he offered. As the sun began to lower in the sky, they started walking back toward the cabin. Anna felt a quiet determination growing inside her. She didn't know what the future would hold, but she knew she wanted to stay here, to explore this life she had never known. She also realized she could trust Tom completely, and that trust made her feel stronger than she had felt in years. That night, as they sat by the fire in the cabin, Anna shared a quiet thought. I don't know if I'll ever return to my old life, she said softly. But being here, I feel like I can start over. Tom smiled. And you can, he said simply. We'll take it one day at a time. You're not alone anymore. Anna's eyes filled with tears, but this time, they were not just tears of fear, they were tears of relief and hope. She realized that the hardest part of her journey had been trusting someone again, and now she had. She could face whatever came next with courage and the knowledge that she had a friend by her side. Outside, the woods were quiet under the stars, holding secrets and possibilities. Inside the cabin, Anna felt a peace she hadn't known in years. She had escaped the life that had weighed her down and found safety, understanding, and trust in the most unexpected place. For Tom, it was also a new beginning. He had never imagined meeting someone like Anna, someone from a completely different world, and forming such a connection. But he knew one thing, this trust they shared was rare and precious, and he would protect it as long as he could. And so, in the quiet cabin at the edge of the woods, two lives from very different worlds began to intertwine. They didn't know what the future held, but they knew they had found something special: friendship, trust, and the courage to face whatever might come together. The next morning, the sky was overcast, and a soft breeze rustled through the trees outside the cabin. Anna sat quietly at the window, her hands wrapped around a warm cup of tea. She had slept uneasily the night before, her dreams filled with flashes of her old life, fancy parties, people demanding her attention, and the unrelenting pressure she had escaped. For the first time in days, she felt the fear creeping back into her heart. Tom entered the room carrying a small basket of bread and fruit. "Morning," he said gently, noticing the look of worry on her face. "You've been quiet today." Anna sighed softly. "I'm just thinking," she admitted. "About everything. About what I left behind, and what might happen if they find me." Tom nodded. "It's natural to think about it. But you're safe now, and that's what matters." Anna looked at him, grateful for his calm and reassurance. "I don't know what to do," she whispered. Part of me wants to stay here, in this quiet life with no rules, no expectations. But part of me feels guilty, like I'm running away from responsibilities I can't ignore forever. Tom sat beside her, keeping his voice steady. You don't have to decide everything right now. Sometimes, the best thing is to take one step at a time. But whatever choice you make, I'll support you. Anna's eyes filled with tears, a mixture of fear, relief, and hope. I never imagined someone could care about me without expecting anything in return, she said. You make me feel safe and understood. I don't want to lose that. Tom smiled softly. Then you won't lose it. You're not alone, Anna. You have a choice, and you can take it slowly. No one can force you into a decision. Later that day, they decided to take a long walk in the woods. The sky was gray, and the forest had a quiet, peaceful feeling. Anna felt the tension in her chest ease as they walked, listening to the soft sound of the wind in the leaves. She told Tom more about her old life, about the expectations, the constant attention, and how lonely she had felt despite having everything she could ever want. Tom listened patiently, nodding as she spoke. I understand why you wanted to escape, he said quietly. You needed a place to be yourself, to breathe without pressure. Anna smiled faintly, feeling comforted by his words. Being here, with you, it's the first time I've felt free, she admitted. But I can't forget my past completely. I have to decide if I'm ready to leave it behind or face it eventually. As they reached a small clearing by the creek, Anna sat on a large rock, letting her fingers touch the cold water. The creek sparkled under the faint sunlight that broke through the clouds. Tom sat beside her, careful to give her space while staying close. I think, Anna said slowly, that staying here could be a real chance to start over. But I'm scared of being found, scared of failing if I try to leave my old life behind. Tom placed a hand gently on her shoulder. Fear is natural, he said softly. But you're not alone. Whatever you decide, we'll face it together. You have the courage to choose your life, and that's more important than anything else. Anna looked at him, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. She realized that she didn't have to face the world's expectations alone. She had someone who cared about her for who she truly was, not for her wealth, family, or status. After a long moment of silence, Anna spoke again. I think I want to stay. Not forever, maybe, but long enough to learn what it feels like to live simply, to make my own choices. I want to try being free. Tom smiled, feeling a quiet relief. Then that's what we'll do. One day at a time, no rush, no pressure. The two of them walked back to the cabin, their steps slow and thoughtful. Anna felt a sense of determination growing inside her. She could face her fears and choose a life that felt right, even if it was uncertain. And she realized that freedom wasn't about running away, it was about making her own choices and having the courage to live by them. That evening, as the sky darkened and the wind whispered through the trees, Anna sat by the fire in the cabin, feeling a small sense of peace she had never known before. She had made a choice, not a permanent one, but a step toward a life she could truly call her own. Tom watched her quietly, feeling grateful that he could be there to support her. He had never expected to meet someone like Anna, someone from a world so different from his own. Yet, he knew that this trust, this connection, was rare and precious. He would protect it for as long as he could. Outside, the forest was calm under the silver light of the moon. Inside the small cabin, Anna had made her choice. She would stay in the quiet woods, in the simple town, and begin a new life, even if only for a little while. And for the first time, she felt ready to face whatever the future held, with Tom quietly walking beside her. The night was peaceful, but both of them knew that challenges might come. Still, Anna had taken the first step toward freedom, and for the first time in her life, she felt the quiet power of a choice made for herself, and herself alone. The next morning, the sun rose slowly over the small town, casting warm golden light across the trees and fields. Anna woke up feeling a calm she hadn't known in years. The quiet cabin, the smell of fresh wood, and the gentle sounds of birds outside made her feel peaceful. She had made her choice to stay, at least for now, and explore this new life away from the pressures and expectations of her past. Tom entered the room with a small basket of breakfast, smiling gently. "Good morning," he said. "I thought we could have breakfast together before our walk." Anna smiled, feeling a warmth in her chest. "Morning," she said softly. She felt grateful for the simplicity of this life and for Tom, who had become her anchor in a world she had only recently begun to understand. As they ate, they talked quietly about the small things in life, the changing colors of the trees, the sounds of the creek, and the occasional bird that landed near the cabin. It was simple, but for Anna, it was more meaningful than anything she had experienced in her old world of wealth and expectations. After breakfast, they decided to walk through the woods again. The morning air was crisp, and the sunlight filtered through the trees, making patterns on the ground. Anna felt a sense of joy she had not known in years. The world felt bigger, freer, and full of possibilities she could now explore. As they walked, Anna reflected on how much she had changed in just a few days. She had shared her fears and her story, and in return, she had found understanding, kindness, and trust. She realized that freedom wasn't just about escaping her old life, it was about discovering who she truly was and having the courage to choose her own path. Tom noticed her thoughtful expression. "You've been quiet," he said gently. "Thinking about the future?" Anna nodded. "Yes. I'm thinking about everything. About the life I left behind, about what I want, and about how to live in a way that makes me happy." Tom smiled softly. "That's all anyone can do, take one step at a time, and try to live honestly and kindly. You've already done the hardest part, choosing to be free." They reached a small clearing near the creek, a place where the water sparkled under the sunlight. Anna sat on a large rock, letting her fingers trail through the cool water. Tom sat beside her, giving her space while staying close. "I've never felt like this before," Anna admitted softly. "Safe, calm, like I belong somewhere. Thank you for showing me that there's more to life than expectations and rules." Tom looked at her kindly. "You don't need to thank me," he said. "You found this freedom yourself. I only helped you see it." Anna smiled faintly, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. She had learned that life could be simpler, kinder, and more meaningful when you chose your own path. And she realized that the small town, the quiet woods, and the people who genuinely cared like Tom could be more valuable than all the wealth and power she had left behind. As the sun began to lower in the sky, they walked back to the cabin, their steps slow and peaceful. Anna felt a quiet confidence growing inside her. She could face her past when she was ready, but for now, she was determined to live fully in the present, in a life she had chosen for herself. That evening, as the sky turned shades of pink and orange, Anna and Tom sat by the fire in the cabin. The warmth of the flames filled the room, and the quiet of the forest outside created a feeling of safety and comfort. "I think I'm ready to truly start over," Anna said softly. "To live simply, to make my own choices, and to enjoy life without fear. Tom smiled, feeling a quiet joy. Then that's what we'll do. One day at a time, together if you want. Anna nodded, a small tear of happiness forming in her eyes. I do, she said softly. Thank you for being here for me, Tom. For helping me find this. Tom reached out and gently took her hand. We'll face the future together, he said. No matter what comes, you won't be alone. Outside, the forest grew quiet under the evening sky. Stars began to twinkle above, and the moon cast a soft silver glow over the trees. Inside the small cabin, Anna felt a peace she had never known. She had escaped the life that had weighed her down, discovered freedom, and found a friend she could trust completely. Days turned into weeks, and Anna began to settle into her new life. She found small joys in helping around the town, reading by the creek, and walking in the woods with Tom. Each day brought a sense of purpose, connection, and happiness she had never experienced before. Anna realized that life was not about wealth or appearances, it was about kindness, trust, freedom, and the people who truly cared about you. And in this quiet town, with Tom by her side, she had found all of that. For Tom, it was a new beginning too. He had never imagined meeting someone like Anna, someone from a world so different from his own, and forming such a bond. Yet, he knew that the moments they shared, the trust and friendship they had built, were rare and precious. And so, in a small cabin at the edge of the woods, a lost woman and a small town man had found something neither of them expected: peace, trust, and the courage to live a life chosen freely. Together, they stepped into the future, ready to face whatever came next, knowing that the most important journey was the one they had chosen to walk together. The night was calm, the forest quiet, and the cabin warm. And for the first time, Anna felt truly free.